Okay, so let's spend just a few moments talking about the types of partnerships. And let's start with the general partnership. So, if you recall the sole proprietorship, the general partnership is very similar to that, just with two or more people. So it's a default entity choice, and it does also have liability, unlimited personal liability. Not only can you be liable for any lawsuit against the company, but you can also be liable for your partner's negligence. All right, and that's why this choice of entity is not held in high esteem, because you literally, just like with the sole proprietorship, you put everything at risk with every single transaction. All right. Limited liability partnerships, LLPs. So most of your professional service firms, actually many of your professional service firms and your accounting firms, are formed in this manner. All right. And so anytime you're going to have a limitation on liability, that is an entity that does not have unlimited personal liability, there's going to be more formality. It's going to be a more complex organization to form. So if you're forming a limited liability partnership, this requires that you file with the Secretary of State certificate of limited liability partnership. All right. And so what is the limitation on liability? So the way a limited liability partnership works is that you have limited liability for partnership operations that may result in liability. The partners do. You also have limited liability for the negligence of your fellow partners. But you still have unlimited personal liability for your own negligence. All right. So that's the way it works. Personally liable for your own negligence, limited liability in virtually any other circumstance. And it is also worth noting, while we're going through these, really the difference here is structure and also liability. But all the default partnership rules for income and management and partnership vote, distributing losses, all of those apply to each of these in the same manner. All right. So let's talk about the limited partnership. All right. The limited partnership, or the LP, has classes of partners. All right, so you have general partners and limited partners. So your general partners are not unlike partners in the general partnership. They have unlimited personal liability. All right. And general partners are often involved in the day-to-day operations of a limited partnership. You also have limited partners. And so limited partners are something like investors. And their investment, or their partnership interest, is limited. Their liability is limited to that of their investment in the partnership. All right, and typically, well, not typically, they are not allowed to be involved in day-to-day operations of the business. So they function like investors. All right. So in a limited partnership, you have general partners who have unlimited personal liability. Now, it's not uncommon, since we know that entities can be partners as well. It's not uncommon to place an entity with limited liability as the general partner. For instance, a corporation could be the general partner, And that gets more complex, but it happens, that's legal. But if it were an individual, that individual would have limited, or I should say unlimited personal liability. Whereas the limited partners, if I've invested $50,000 as a limited partner, I can lose $50,000 but not a cent more because I'm a limited partner. My risk is my investment. Limited liability, limited partnerships. And we just keep adding more L's, it looks like. So the limited liability, limited partnership is really an amalgamation of the limited partnership and the limited liability partnership. So you have classes of partners in the limited liability, limited partnership. And you also have the limitation of liability for the negligence of your fellow partners, but unlimited personal liability for your own negligence. So really it's just traits of both the limited liability partnership and the limited partnership. Alright. Okay, so those are the 4 types of partnerships covered in this chapter, and that's that for the moment.